Hello, I'm Charlotte Ulett from the Celebrant Foundation and Institute of North America. Today what we're going to have is a celebration of life ceremony for Sheldon Rosenberg. This will be a celebration of life ceremony that will talk about Sheldon and his life over his 73 years with several speakers from his life, from childhood all the way up to the time where he was a grandfather. So I welcome you. Please enjoy the ceremony. Hi, everyone. Hello. As you know, I'm Charlotte Ulett, Vivian's daughter and Sheldon's daughter by marriage. And I'm also our celebrant guide today as we come together in our loving tribute to Sheldon on the 8th anniversary, Yahrzeit, of his passing. On behalf of my mother and Sheldon's family, I thank you all, his devoted friends here today that came from states far and wide, including Ohio, yay, California, right, Gary, California, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., actually Seattle, and Washington, D.C. as well, right, guys? And for those who could not be with us today, we think of them in love and in light. Now, if you please hush your cell phones once again and anything else that buzzes or beeps in the day. Thank you. 16th century English poet Ben Jonson wrote, "He was not of an age, but for all time." I take the liberty of speaking for all of us to say that these words aptly describe Sheldon, as each of us knew him in our own way, sharing our shadow with him. Sheldon certainly made an imprint on our lives. Today we remember and celebrate with happy hearts the vitality, the wit, the smile, the sparkling blue eyes, great friend, young boy, ice skater, communicator, lover, father of Robert, Gary, and Stephen, son of Abe and Rosie Rosenberg, businessman, hearty laugher, animal enthusiast, loquacious critic, Vivian's husband, art collector, grandfather of Aaron and Matthew and little Isabel and Emma, Chicagoan, beauty seeker, negotiator, peacemaker, stepdad of Dino and me, father-in-law of Ellen, Wendy, and Angela, Yiddish connoisseur, survivor, citizen of the world, fighter for the underdog, and, if nobody knew this, bellowing gospel singer, Sheldon E. Rosenberg. Yes, he was all these things and more that we don't know yet, but we'll find out today later from the very source, the people in his life that knew him. So you don't just have to take my words for the source. We have many people here that will enlighten us. We've assembled several of Sheldon's friends and family to come up and graciously enlighten us with their stories on how Sheldon, in his 73 years on planet Earth, made a lasting imprint on our lives. Now, you may all think that a celebration of life ceremony is out of the ordinary, but it's not. We're actually reviving a very old custom. Throughout history and in many cultures, it's a common practice for a community to gather together in the ancient oral tradition of sharing stories of their beloved ancestors, passing down the legacies and the important histories from one generation to the next. So just think, this is what our great-great-grandparents did long ago, and now we're doing it too. An ancient African proverb tells us that people who lack the knowledge, the people who lack the knowledge of their past are like trees without roots. And that collectively, as a society, we have a duty to honor our past so that we can learn from it. And in doing so, we celebrate the continuity of life that nourishes our very souls and that of our future generations. And so it is. On this day, we, his adoring friends, will celebrate the life of our honorable, much-missed, wise elder and chieftain, Sheldon Rosenberg. All in favor, on the count of three, say, Viva Sheldon! 1, 2, 3. Viva Sheldon! That's pretty good. Okay. Sheldon gifted me a seashell that's traveled with me throughout the bumps and smooth passages of my life. It is now settled and found a home on my desk in New Jersey. I like my shell a lot. I like my shell a lot. So Mom decided to continue this tradition and gift it to each of you as a special symbol to remind us that even though we can't see Shell, he's with us all the time. I kindly ask Professor Danny Cohen, he told me not to say professor, Danny Cohen, Sheldon's adult and childhood friend, to come on up. Danny?
Okay, childhood friend, we go back to 1941. We were both 12 years old. And I had just moved in to the west side of Chicago from a small Iowa town, and was sort of a culture shock, being in a community where I was the only Jew in the neighborhood. To come to an area where most of the population was Jewish was kind of unsettling. And one of the first people that I met was our honored absent guest today, Sheldon. He was walking down Grenshaw Street with his Tante Hani's dog, Sandy. And I was on the same street, and I noticed the dog. I went up to pet it, and Sheldon warned me that the dog bites, but we became friends when the dog didn't bite me. We graduated from elementary school together, and our friendship went on for the next almost 60 years. And I'm sitting next to Gary over here. Charlotte mentions Sheldon, ice skater, and Gary shakes his head. But Sheldon did go ice skating with me on the Douglas Park Lagoon during the winter time, and in the summertime we used to go rowing there. Sheldon introduced me to a great deal of Chicago. We used to get on the Roosevelt Road streetcar, take it to the end of the line near the Field Museum and what is now known as the museum campus, and we would spend very nice Saturdays and sometimes Sundays going through the various museums. You began to get a eclectic view of the world by looking at all of the knowledge that was contained in the museums. When we graduated from elementary school, we went to separate high schools, but we still kept in touch, seeing each other several times a week, usually on weekends. One of our things that we would always enjoy doing is on either Friday night or Saturday night, we would walk to one of the movie palaces. He had no special liking for any kind of movie. We liked them all. But then we have to come up with the idea. We both graduated high school. He went on to Roosevelt University. It was somewhat convenient for him because the university was fairly close to where Abe had Ace Looseleaf, and Sheldon worked part-time for his father. It's where he learned most of his business savvy. I went to a community college, and after the first year, Abe asked me if I would like to come to work for him part-time, and so I transferred to Roosevelt University, and the two of us graduated from Roosevelt University in 1950. Prior to that, we were under the idea that we might be drafted, so we both joined the National Guard. I think Charlotte has a photo of Sheldon in a uniform, and she asked me about it, and I had forgotten all about the National Guard.